Inventory tracking can be used for a variety of businesses such as retail shops, coffee sellers, or e-commerce businesses. And this video will walk you through a simple coffee business example so you can clearly see how to use inventory tracking in QuickBooks Online. Before we add any products, we need to turn on the features that make inventory tracking work. So we'll click on the gear icon and then Account and Settings, then Sales, then we'll scroll down to Products and Services. You need to turn on these three features: Show Product Service column on sales forms, Track Quantity and Price Rate, and Track Inventory Quantity on Hand. And then under Expenses, you need to turn on Show Items Table on expense and purchase forms, and use purchase orders. These are needed to reorder supplies from vendors in QuickBooks Online. This is a foundation of inventory tracking, so we'll take this step by step. We'll add an inventory item by clicking on the gear icon and then Products and Services. Then from the drop-down menu, we'll select Inventory Item, and the name of this item will be Whole Coffee Beans for 1 pound. The SKU or stock keeping unit is a unique identifier used by the business to quickly identify and locate a product. It's typically a combination of letters and numbers, so a ½ pound of coffee beans would have a different SKU than 1 pound of coffee beans. I'm going to leave this SKU blank. Then we'll add the initial quantity on hand, which was 10 as of January 21st of 2026. The reorder point is helpful because QuickBooks Online will notify us when our stock is running low or we're out of an item. We'll set it for 5. The inventory asset account shows up on the balance sheet and records the value of assets that we have on hand. As inventory is sold, the value decreases. When new inventory is received, it increases. In the sales section, the description is what shows up on the sales receipts and invoices for your customers, so they can clearly identify what they purchased. We'll use Whole Coffee Beans, 1 pound. Next, we'll add the price that we'll charge the customers, which is $16, and the income will be recorded to Sales of Product Income. The purchasing section is especially helpful when you need to reorder items because it will pull in all these details on a purchase order, which saves you time. The purchase description will be Whole Coffee Beans for 1 pound. The purchase cost is $9 per bag. The expense will be recorded to cost of goods sold, and the preferred vendor is Wholesale Coffee, and then we'll save and close. If you have many inventory items to add, you can upload them all at once using a CSV or Excel format. Click on the drop-down arrow and select Batch Import, then click on Import from File. You can download the sample CSV file so you'll know the exact format that QuickBooks Online accepts. I'm going to X out, or you can enter them from this screen. It has the same information that we saw when we created the individual inventory item. However, this is displayed in column format, so you can enter multiple items. Now that the item is set up, let's see what happens when we actually sell inventory. Let's create a sales receipt for items that were purchased. We'll click on Create and then Sales Receipt. The customer is Andy Wentworth, and the receipt date was January 23rd. He paid using cash, which was deposited into the Chase checking account. Then we'll scroll down, and he purchased whole coffee beans, a total of 6 bags for $96, and then we'll record and close. Now we can see how the setup we did for the inventory item shows up in the financial reports. The profit and loss statement for that day shows the income that we earned from the sale under Sales of Product Income, as well as what it cost us to purchase those items under Cost of Goods Sold. The balance sheet is also updated to show that our inventory assets have decreased after the sale. If we click on Inventory Asset, we can see our starting inventory, which was 10 bags at $9 each for a total of $90. After selling 6 bags of coffee, we're left with 4 bags valued at $36. Once inventory gets low, QuickBooks lets you know when it's time to reorder. It's notifying us that we have low stock for one item. If we click See All, we can filter by low on stock. We can see that we have 4 bags of coffee left after that sale was made, so let's order more before we completely run out. Click on the drop-down arrow and then Reorder. This opens a purchase order with our preferred vendor information. If you need to change the vendor, you can click on the drop-down arrow and then add a new vendor. The purchase order date was January 24th. The shipping address is your shipping address by default, or you can select a customer under Ship To if you're shipping directly to them. Then I'm going to scroll down to the item details section. When we hover over quantity, we can see the quantity on hand and our reorder point. This is handy information to reference as you're creating your vendor order. Let's order 15 more bags. A purchase order tracks what we intend to buy, but it doesn't affect inventory yet. And then we'll save and close. This next step is important because the inventory only increases when items are received and recorded. The vendor can be paid by check, expense, or bill. If you create a bill, even if it hasn't been paid, the inventory will be updated. The key step is to add the open purchase order to whichever form of payment you use, so QuickBooks Online will automatically update the inventory. We already paid using a credit card, so we'll click on Create and Expense. The vendor is Wholesale Coffee. The purchase order we created shows up, so let's add it. The payment account was Discover Credit Card, and the payment date was January 25th. Then I'll scroll down to the item details section. Now, if this was a partial order that arrived, we change the quantity and only pay for what we received. We can also add additional products that we received from the vendor that weren't on the purchase order, and then save and close. Now we can see that no items show up under the low on stock filter, so let's clear the filter. Whole coffee beans now show 19 bags on hand. I've added a second item, which is a half-pound bag of whole coffee beans. If you want to add multiple items to a purchase order for the same vendor, you can select the boxes next to each item, then click Reorder, and this will open a new purchase order. Inventory adjustments are used when something unexpected happens, like damage, theft, or accounting error. They're not part of day-to-day inventory activity. To make an adjustment to the quantity of an item, click on the drop-down arrow and select Adjust Quantity. When you make an inventory adjustment, you'll need to select the reason for the inventory loss. By default, it goes to the expense account inventory shrinkage, but you could create expense accounts for theft, spoilage, or donations if you want to capture more details on your profit and loss statement. In this example, 4 bags of coffee were damaged during shipment on January 26, so we'll change the adjustment reason to damaged goods, and we'll use the default inventory adjustment account inventory shrinkage. The product was 1 pound of whole coffee beans. QuickBooks is showing a quantity on hand of 19, but we actually have 15. The difference between the quantity on hand and the new quantity are automatically calculated. So this is showing a loss of 4 bags of coffee. QuickBooks records the difference as an expense, so it shows up on the profit and loss statement. Once inventory is set up and moving, these 3 reports help you keep an eye on what's happening. The Inventory Valuation Detail Report shows details about what inventory was purchased and sold. So for our 1 pound bags of whole coffee beans, we can see that we started with 10 bags. We sold 6 bags to our customer, Andy Wentworth. We purchased 15 more bags from our vendor, Wholesale Coffee, and we made an inventory adjustment to account for the loss of 4 bags that were damaged during shipment. The Inventory Valuation Summary shows the quantity of items on hand, asset value, which is the total that was paid for the items on hand, and the average cost per item. The Physical Inventory Worksheet is used to compare the physical count to the quantity that is recorded in QuickBooks Online. QuickBooks Online effectively handled basic inventory tracking. However, you may need a dedicated inventory management program if you sell across multiple platforms, store inventory at different locations, or need to track raw materials. If you want to learn more about various products and service items that can be created in QuickBooks Online, check out our video above. And as always, you can explore extensive resource of videos about QuickBooks Online and bookkeeping.